Yo, what's up, everyone? Today we are covering Oras Cup, Smogon Oras Cup, and just my win in the tournament, and then also my top 32 games and beyond. So it's been a while since I've uploaded. I've just been busy with moving, and new job and everything, so I haven't really had the time to upload any Pokemon content. But tournament wins are special, so I just figured that I would cover my prep, what I thought about the tournament, my insight about the Oras tier as a whole, and yeah, I thought it would be a good video. So we're just gonna jump straight into it, starting off with what I ended up getting for this tournament, and what I used for its entire duration. So first off, Smogon tournaments are broken up into pools where you draft Mons with I think it's about 7 other players in your pool. There's hella pools, and when it comes to Oras, it's really a tier where there's I want to say maybe a few elite Mons in the first couple picks, and after that I feel like there's a major drop off when it comes to what's the best Mon. I say that to say, of course, everyone knows Mega Guard is going to be the top echelon of Mon in Oras. Following that, in my opinion, I think it goes Lando T. Maybe you have Lando I in there, and then maybe Mew, which you end up seeing that I get. I'm pretty sure I can't remember my exact pick, but I want to say I was third or fourth pick, and I knew if I wasn't going to get Mega Guard or Lando T, I was 100% picking up Mew, just because from my experience of using Mew in Oras, to me it's its best gen, easily, hands down. I know Gen 7 you have Z moves for Mew, Gen 8 it gets spikes and everything, but I don't think there's any other gen where Mew's defensive sets are as good as Oras, and I think it's just a great glue Mon. The tricky part with drafting Mew, right, is you never want to draft Mew where it's the having to do and fill too many roles on the team, because you role compress it into Mew, right? So you don't ever want Mew to be your primary rocker or your primary hazard remover shit. Then you're just ending up with bad Mew sets most of the time. So I knew going into the rest of my draft that I really wanted to free up Mew's options to be whatever it really wanted to be. But also get some just nice synergy with Mew as well. So pick 2, I ended up getting Keldeo. Now Keldeo, I think is a fantastic Mon in Oras. I personally though have never gotten the chance to draft it until now. I don't know, it's just never been a Mon that's really come to me, because I feel like Keldeo used to be you can maybe wait till round 3 to get that shit, but now I don't know, the Keldeo stocks have risen and people love this Mon. So I wanted to try it out. It has good synergy with Mew. Being able to check major threats like Weavile, of course, which is definitely a menace in this tier. And of course, Skull Burns in Gen 6 are amazing, right? The 12% versus the 6% later on. So yeah, this is Keldeo's best gen by far. And I was excited to get the chance to try it out finally. Next up, we drafted Thunderous Eye. So Thunderous Eye is of course very, very good in Oras, with Prankster T-Wave being able to hit dark types, as well as just T-Wave being super, super crippling, with how much it drops your speed by. And of course I just wanted a Mon faster than Keldeo. My baseline is always to get at least one Mon above 110 when it comes to speed tiers. In Oras, I think it's a little bit more forgiving when it comes to speed tiers, just because there aren't elite fast Mons like there are in later gens like Coco and Zera. So something like Thunderous Eye is honestly plenty fast enough in this tier. It's easily one of the fastest Mons in the tier. I think only Mons like Serp, Starmie, and Gren And of course, like some of the mega options like Mega Lop are mons that outspeed, but for the most part, Thunderous is like outspeeding majority of the tier. So very, very good mon. Also was really going for just a synergy of having two mons that pressured something like Scizor well. Just because I knew with the whatever mons I got later, we will see when I'm talking about Kieran Black. I wanted to make sure I had good checks to steel types in the tier. And yeah, Thunderous Eye and Keldeo fit that very, very well. So next, I ended up drafting Donphan. So of course, I needed my hazard removal. I didn't want Mew to be my only way of removing hazards. Defog Mew is of course fine, but you know, you always want to try and get spin if you can. So Donphan being my ground type, again, this is Donphan's best gen by far, giving me spin for things like Thunderous and remove spikes and all that. Yeah, Donphan is just going to be that glue piece for my team. And next up, I got Kieran Black. So I know just in general, people are Kieran Black haters, bro. Haters, and especially in Oras. But I remember, bro, I was watching, I think, Darkrai's Oras Cup, maybe like, I don't know, 1 or 2 Oras Cups back. And I remember watching him use Oras Kieran Black. And that shit, you slapped on Resist Berry or whatever, and that shit was killing like 2 mons per game. Easily. And like in this draft process, I was debating Mega Ult or Kieran Black. And the reason why I settled on Kieran Black was because, number one, this mon somehow made it to me in round 5. But also, I just thought that, like, I've seen as of late how good, very, very cheap megas can be in Oras. And I'm like, Kieran Black just synergizes so well with the top mons that I have. You know, Donphan being able to remove hazards, but also Thunderous and Keldeo like really just pressure Kieran Black checks very, very well. Like maybe bulky fairies could be annoying, but like things like Scizor, which is known for trying to check Kieran Black in the tier, like that shit's not an answer. Like I have Thunderous and Keldeo, like be for real. And I just thought that like what Mega Ult was offering, Kieran Black could just do better while also still giving me a Mega slot. So I ended up getting Kieran Black. And of course, Kieran Black is my favorite mon in draft. So I was super excited with this top 5. Yeah, all just mons that I really like just in general in Oras. From there, we didn't have that many points left. But of course, I knew I needed a steel type because Mega Guard is a threat, 100% a threat. And also, I really wanted to get a ground check because, of course, there's Garchomp, Lando I, Lando T. At the moment, Thunderous Eye is immune, right? But Thunderous Eye is not going to be checking these mons. So to fill all that into one roll, I got Bronzong. Now, Bronzong, honestly, I've never really been that much of a fan of. But I do think that it does have a good role in Oras just because, like I said, it checks so many of the top meta threats. As well as Bronzong giving me another Stealth Rocker too to take the pressure off of Donphan and Mew. And yeah, I mean, Bronzong is a pretty good check to Mega Guard. Shadow Ball does a lot, but it does intuit KO. And yeah, I mean, like I said, Bronzong just like checks so many of the top meta threats like Torn, Mega Guard, the ground. So I just thought for roll compression wise, Bronzong was definitely going to be the move. And then our last 2 picks were Mega Absol. So one of the things I really wanted to get on this team was Pursuit Trapper for Keldeo. Like when you look at Keldeo's checks in Oras, they consist of Starmie, Latios, and then of course the Grass Poisons. The Grass Poisons I'm not worried about. Like I have Mew, I have Kieran Black, like we'll be fine. But things like Latios, like Starmie can be very annoying for my team, specifically Latios, because I don't have a fairy. And I just knew I really wanted a Pursuit Trapper to pair along with Keldeo. So I was debating either getting Mega Absol or Mega Bayonet. And the reason why I just settled on Mega Absol is because I just felt that Mega Absol would have a better opportunity to Pursuit Trap something like Latios compared to Mega Bayonet, just because it's faster, right? Like, of course, the speed mechanics in Oras make it difficult for you to get that automatic speed with Mega Absol, but should you get it, Mega Absol is always going to be a mon that outspeeds Starmie. Well, speed ties with Starmie, but outspeeds Latios. So yeah, I just really wanted to get a Pursuit Trapper to pair along with Keldeo. So Mega Absol was the play, plus I needed my Mega. So last mon was Vileplume. This is literally just here to give me a grounded poison. I think I was like 1 point off from being able to get, like, being able to afford Roselia, which easily would have like brought this team together very, very well with spikes and all that, but it was too expensive. So we ended up getting Vileplume. Vileplume is literally just here to be a grounded poison, help with Keldeo, help with Serp, like all that shit. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was the team that I ended up drafting for the tournament. Now, the first like stage of the tournament is, of course, our pool games. I think I went 2-1 in pools. The only game I lost was like to some really unconventional team where I faced like a fucking Chandelure. And of course, look at my team, right? I have 2 psychics and like a fire resist Keldeo. Like I got fucking obliterated by a Chandelure, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But like I said, that was pools. So that shit didn't matter. So yeah, so we ended up making it 2-1 out of pools, won our top 64 game, and yeah, now I'm just gonna dive into our top 32 game and beyond. So going over to Showdown real quick, let's analyze our matchup for top 32. So this is just how I present it in Showdown, just to like make it clear for myself. But my opponent had like Lando I, Rotom Wash, Latios, Klefki, Terrakion, Drapion, and then they also had Ambipom and Trevenant. So like a very like, I don't know, bulky offense type team. I like in general, right? These mons are not really threatening versus my team besides the Latios. Like, I mean, look at my team. My Dragon Resist is Bronzong, and like my Pursuit Trapper is Mega Absol. Like that's just scary. But in general, like looking at his team, like what are his like good Keldeo checks? Like it really is Trevenant and Latios. And the thing with Keldeo that I definitely came to realize in this tournament is, like, Keldeo can break through all of this shit by just slapping on specs. Legit, specs Keldeo was a mod I brought pretty much every single week because of how good it is at just pressuring its checks. Like between the Scald burns and then just like muscling through with like Secret Sword and Icy Wind, like this shit is so free to click specs moves. And like looking at his checks to Keldeo, like both Trevenant and Latios do not appreciate taking a specs Icy Wind. So very, very free Keldeo matchup, as well as the fact that Kieran Black offensively just looks really, really good. You know, being able to pressure Rotom Wash, Lando I. Yeah, the other thing I noticed too was he only really has one like good electric check, being like Lando I. The rest of his team is very, very weak to Thundurus. So this was Dr. Geo's team, by the way. So let's just look into the team that I ended up bringing for him. So starting off, we have the Mew set. So forgive me, by the way, I'm going through these teams and replays. Some of the later ones I don't remember as well, just because it's been a while. But as we get further along in the games, I will 100% like remember everything when it comes to prep and my play as well. But anyways, going to this matchup versus Dr. Geo for top 32. So first we're starting off with this Mew. It's like a fast, bulky Mew with Citrus Berry. And I remember I ended up bringing this Mew literally just as a way to slow down the Latios, right? I didn't want to bring Bronzong in this game, which in hindsight, I definitely should have, because I remember I was prepping for this game on mobile, and for some reason I thought that shit said Lando T instead of Lando I, and I was like okay, like Lando T is like whatever versus my team. Like that shit's killing nothing. Like look at my team. Like it's OC bulky. Nothing is weak to ground. Like I don't give a fuck about Lando T. I remember I put up into this fucking game and I was like, bro, he has a Lando I. I was sweating bullets, bro. I was like, what the fuck? And had I known he had Lando I 100% would have brought my fucking Bronzong. But yeah, that's besides the point. Anyways, we brought this Mew as my check to Latios. So in the builder, right, I knew I was struggling with trying to check something like Specs Latios, but I ended up deciding on the fact of, you know, Trevenant coming is pretty unlikely, right? So Latios should be some sort of check that can be a long it should be some type of mon that can be a long-term check to Keldeo in this matchup. And I figured something like Specs, right, it's threatening offensively, but it's not really going to help him versus Keldeo. And even if it is Specs, we have we're bringing Mega Absol, right, with Pursuit. So even if he was to be Specs, which is like the only set that can truly break this Mew, at the end of the day, we can always Pursuit trap it with Absol and just make it like not a factor anymore. So I ended up really just prepping my Mew EVs for, I think it was like something like just max special attack, Latios, potentially Choice Scarf as well, to outspeed like Keldeo, Kieran Black and shit. So with Citrus Berry, it allowed me to take like I'm pretty sure 2 Shadow Balls from Latios with Rocks Up, as well as like Draco into Draco. And the idea behind U-turn is, should he like click Draco versus Mew, I can U-turn and then go right out into Mega Absol and Pursuit trap it. So that's big because, like you see, I'm bringing Specs Keldeo, and like once Latios is removed, like he can't really kill my Keldeo at all. Like nothing on his team kills Keldeo. So once Latios is removed, Keldeo looks fantastic. We have Super Fang and Will-O-Wisp just to get some good chip on Wash and Keys. This is just a bulky type Mew, and Will-O-Wisp is there for Drapion. I'm like creeping max speed Drapion, so yeah, just a good like defensive utility type Mew. Next we have Kieran Black, our breaker, along with Keldeo. So Kieran Black, this set, I mean, it's like standard, right? Life Orb breaking, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Fusion Bolt, Roost. I'm only carrying Fusion Bolt in this matchup, just so that I have a move that can 2-shot Keys, should he be either Balloon, Shucka, or like Light Screen, or Magnetize, right? Like if he's Magnetize Keys, takes the like first Earth Power and then Magnetizes, I still have a move that hits very, very hard versus Keys being Fusion Bolt. Kieran Black defensively is kind of tough here because it's weak to Latios and Terrakion, but I figured as long as I can just bring it out versus Wash, and I can also use it versus Drapion too, like I can just like kind of trade or get a kill. Next we have Specs Keldeo. I already talked about this bond. This bond is like really, really good here, and is being enabled by this Mega Absol, which is supposed to be our lead in this matchup. The reason why I'm leading Mega Absol here is literally just to get off my Mega speed with Protect, just because it's so crucial to be outspeeding Latios already. Next we have our Wincon and Thunderous. So this set, sub Select plot, I actually had ran like back to back in this tournament. Like it's honestly so nice when you get to run this Thunder set. For some reason it's just satisfying, bro. Like it's only really possible in Oras because of Thunderous' speed tier just being very, very good in this tier. But yeah, like when the opponent doesn't have strong priority, or in this case, their priority consists of keys T-Wave, like I'm not factoring this in. This Thunder set is just strong, right? +2 HP Ice does a ton to Latios, especially if I remove it with Mega Absol, and then it also just obliterates Lando. And then the rest of his team just kind of falls over to +2 T-Bolt, which I can easily get a plot up versus Wash or Keys. So it just looked very strong here. Nothing he has outspeeds it at +1. And then lastly, we're bringing this Donphan with Citrus Berry, max defense. This is literally just my Terrakion check. Also helps versus Drapion too, but yeah, just max. So rocker and spinner here. Citrus Berry allows me to not get 2-hit killed by choice banded close combat. So yeah, we'll get into the game. So yeah, our opponent, like I said, he had Lando I instead of Lando T, and when I was entering this matchup, I was like, oh shit, like I did not prep for Lando I. So I was just hoping that we would somehow survive this, right? Like him being Lando I wasn't integral to me, like my win con being messed up or anything like that, but it definitely is harder to switch into than Lando T. So yeah. So we lead off with Mega Absol as he leads off with Latios. I just click Protect because I need to get my speed right away. And he could easily be like Specs and just Oko me off lead. So then we go out to Mew. He reveals to be like probably like Choice Scarf based off that damage. My Citrus Berry allows me to never get to a kill. I click U-turn, go right out to Kieran Black on Wash. And this is good positioning for me, right? Like Kieran Black is always gonna like just put a ton of pressure on Wash and his team in general. And like, yeah, this is the free ass Earth Power. Like even if he goes Keys in this balloon, I would just click 2 Fusion Bolts afterwards and just obliterate him. So yeah, Earth Power as he reveals to be Shukaberry, I guess for this Kieran Black scenario, and he clicks T-Wave versus me. This is fine, honestly, because Kieran Black wasn't really trying to outspeed anything in this matchup anyways. I click Ice Beam in case he was Balloon Keys. I then click Earth Power into Shukaberry Clef Key as he gets up spikes. And like, look at this, bro. Look at this. This shit clicked 32% play rough versus Kieran Black, bro. That shit did no damage. Shout out to Kieran Black EVs, man. So yeah, I take this mon out. He's gotten up a spike and everything, but honestly, I just don't care. Like Kieran Black has done his job. It's eliminated the keys, making it so that he doesn't have a way of paralyzing my Keldeo once his Latios is removed. So I don't really care. Like Kieran Black did his thing. So yeah, I just go up, like he goes to Wash, revenges me with Foul Play, and then I go up to Keldeo, click Secret Sword, just Oko that shit. And so then goes Latios. I go out to Mew. My intention is just to sack this mon off so I can Pursuit Trap with Mega Absol, which I end up doing. So yeah, at this point he's like -4, so even if he is like Choice Scarf, like that shit is doing no damage. So yeah, I click Pursuit. He misses, unfortunately, but I don't think it really mattered because as you can see, he never would have 2-hit killed me with Draco. So yeah, this is Latios dead now, and like now Keldeo looks fantastic, right? Goes up to Terrakion. I'm like, okay, this shit is probably Scarf. And I do have superpower, but I just didn't want to risk it when I have a full health Donphan. So I just go out to Donphan. I click Ice Shard because I figured my EQ click here was pretty obvious. And like he really only has one EQ switch in at this moment. So I just click Ice Shard, hit into Yachi Lando. I swap out, sack off Absol. And now I just get another free click with my Keldeo, and I mean he has no water resist at this point, so he's forced to sack Lando. He goes up to Terrakion. It's a speed tie if he's not Scarf, so I just risk it because I'm like, why not? Like I calced it, and like he didn't. It was like he had to get like max roll to kill me. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay in. Like I don't really care. If he's Scarf, I just get free setup with my Thunderous and can win that way. So yeah, I end up living, click Skull, kill him, and then he just has Drapion left. He ends up being like some like setup type Drapion, which honestly, like, I don't know, was never gonna win versus my team. I have a Dom fan and shit, and yeah, so I Shard is gonna be able to take him out, and yeah, that's gonna be the end of that game right there. So yeah, it pretty much went straight to plan, right? Eliminate Latios with Mega Absol, and then Keldeo goes crazy. Didn't even get to show off my Thunder set, but is what it is. So yeah, that was top 32. Now we're gonna look at top 16. So this matchup was volatile. I remember this. So my opponent, Wood of Darkness, they have a Mega Guard, Infernape, Torn, T, Hydreigon, Donphan, Doublade, and then 2 shitters in Claudette and Roselia. But just look at this top 4, right? This top 4 is insane. Really top 3. Like Mega Guard, Infernape, Torn T. I don't know how in the world this guy ever got these 3 mons together, because this is insane. And like, look at my team and look at my answers to Hydreigon. Like, this is what happens when you don't have a fairy and your steel type is part psychic. Like, bro, Hydreigon is a threat. Like, there is not much I can really do to guard versus it. And yeah, like, Hydreigon's a threat, Infernape's a threat. Like, my only fire resist is Keldeo. Like, just a very threatening team. The biggest thing I took away from this matchup, though, off glance, is that Kieran Black offensively just smokes him, right? Kieran Black offensively smokes him. The main issue for Kieran Black is that, what is it? His offense all outspeeds me, right? With Mega Guard and Infernape, Hydreigon. So it's really tough to try and pick like a resist berry to enable Kieran Black, because yeah, it's hard to decide which mon he's going to use to try and revenge Kieran Black. Like, he could pick any one of Hydreigon, Guard, or Infernape. The other thing I noticed was he didn't really have to bring Roselia for Keldeo, right? Because like Assault Vest Torn plus Guard can really check most Keldeo sets like very, very comfortably. And I mean, Roselia is just pretty terrible into the rest of my team. So I figured these top 6 were going to come, right? You definitely want Doublade for Kieran Black. And the rest of them are like guaranteed, just because they're so strong offensively. So we're going to look at this team that I brought. First off, we're starting out with this Mew. Now, I remember making this Mew. I made this team and I was on midnight shift, and it had to have been like 4 a.m. or something. Like, I was in the kitchen late at night, like cooking up some devious shit. And how I landed on this Blizzard Mew, I will never know. But I'm gonna try and recap as to see why I came to this conclusion, because in the game, I just remembered, I was like, what did I do? So yeah, we're starting off with this Mew WinCon set. So I knew if I was to win this game, right, it had to be through Mew. Like, Mew is my best mon here. Like, looking at his team, right, his only real stopgaps to Mew are Mega Guard and Hydreigon, all of which Mew has coverage for. So I landed on running Psychic coverage, so Psyshock. Psyshock is really for the Infernape, but it also helps versus AV Torn as well, and Roselia, just because Psychic will kind of bounce off of Spadef Roselia. I ended up running Blizzard, right, because when it came to calcs versus like things like AV Torn and Hydreigon, if I wasn't running Dazzle for Hydreigon, I really needed a strong enough move to kill Hydreigon after Rock's chip, and Blizzard was going to give me the best damage output when it came to Hydreigon after Rocks, but also AV Torn after Rocks, just because Blizzard with the E-Belt just does a ton, right? Lastly, we have Shadow Ball for to hit guard pretty hard, but also do blade too. So yeah, my goal is to try and set up this Mew versus Infernape, because I figured if he's a choice lot set, it would definitely give me the opportunity to get Mew going. So yeah, and same thing with like Draco. Special attack drops from Hydreigon could also be another avenue to get Mew going. Next was my secondary win con should this Mew fail, which is physical Choice Scarf Thunderous, rocking Fly. So I mean, looking at his team, right? His flying like resists consists of Doublade, as well as the fact that his team is very like fast, offensively frail, to the point where with Chip, Fly could easily be a win con in this game. So yeah, I landed on physical Thunderous. It just does more damage to Mega Guard when it comes to revenging, and I also realized like too, like special Thunderous is just gonna bounce off of AV Torn, so which I really thought was a strong possibility here. So physical Thunderous just looked way better. Being able to click like max attack U-turns on Donphan too was like really nice. As well as this Thunderous was supposed to be my lead here, right? Because I really wanted to make sure I had a lead that didn't just give Hydreigon a free click. And I wanted a lead that like got off enough chip on Hydreigon so that Mew could revenge later on with Blizzard once I get the polish up. So, and just in general, Thunderous matched up the best lead wise, and so I'm like, if I'm just gonna lead Thunderous and always swap out versus Hydreigon, because something like Superpower or Focus Blast never kills Hydreigon from full. I'm like, if I'm just gonna lead off with Thunderous, I might as well just run max attack U-turn and just get off as much chip as possible. So yeah, that's the idea behind this Thunderous set. Choice Scarf, lead, looking solid. Next we have this Kieran Black. So I was in the kitchen for this Kieran Black set. I know I was debating like Assault Vest for a good while. Like Assault Vest allowed me to live Dracos from Hydreigon, but also Mega Guard Hyper Voice. But I ended up settling on Choppleberry just because I realized when it comes to what he may use to revenge Kieran Black, all of his mons I have good enough guards against, except for Infernape, right? Like Infernape clicking close combat is just so free here, especially because my Mew is not bulky. And I needed to use Donphan as my way to kind of help out versus Hydreigon. So I was like, should that be the case, right? If he goes Mega Guard, I have Bronzong. If he goes Hydreigon, I have Donphan. The last mon that I don't have a guard against is Infernape. So I decided on Choppleberry just to allow Kieran Black to live Choice Banded CC after Rocks. That was the big calc I was going for. And then also, like, I think the Spadef I had was for like special Infernape as well. Other than that, like, this Kieran Black is just supposed to be a breaker here. I figured like if I get U-turn off on Donphan from this Thunderous, I can easily bring in this Kieran Black and just click an attack. Same with like if I clicked like Icy Wind with this Keldeo into Roselia, it would give my Kieran Black a free switch in. So yeah, that's what I kind of decided on. This Kieran Black, just running the coverage of Ice Beam, Iron Head, Earth Power. Also, the speed I have on Kieran Black was to allow me to outspeed Mega Guard on its first Mega Turn, because unless he's running Protect, base Guard, it will always be undersped by this Kieran Black. So, and Iron Head does 10 million, so even with no attack investment, modest. So that was the idea behind this Kieran Black. Next we have this Donphan. Very interesting set because I'm not running Earthquake, so no stab. But this Donphan is really just meant to help with Hydreigon as like some sort of like soft check to it. We're running Play Rough just for Hydreigon. And then we have Knockoff, Ice Shard, Spin. Spin is going to allow me to get rid of rocks to keep my Choice Scarf Thunderous healthy. Really, the combo of knockoff Ice Shard kind of handles his team just very, very well. And I figured there should never really be a situation where I need Earthquake just for Infernape, just because, I mean, Infernape shouldn't be trying to Saiyan versus my Donphan, right? So, kind of like forced to run awkward coverage, but I really just needed some sort of answer to Hydreigon. I'm pretty sure this Donphan like doesn't ever die to like 2 Choice Scarf Hydreigon Dracos, so it was really nice. Next up we have Specs Keldeo again. Specs Keldeo is going to be our way to muscle through Mega Guard and AV Torn. And yeah, I mean, Specs Keldeo is just free, right? Like, he has basically one water resist and Roselia. Like, Hydreigon is never going to want to come in on Keldeo. So, and should he leave Roselia, like, my click is always clicks Choice Spec Scald, right? Choice Spec Scald is just the freest click ever. So, yeah, self-explanatory Keldeo set right here. And then lastly, we have this Bronzong. We're running Heat Proof because Donphan being the only mon that really has ground coverage here, I wasn't ever intending using this Bronzong on Donphan, just because it's Spadef, and I don't want to take a knockoff. So I was like, I might as well run Heat Proof, just for the Infernape, you know, just because it just helps my defensive pieces not be revenge killed by Infernape as easily. And then we're running Gyro Ball, Future Sight, Protect, Stealth Rock. Future Sight with Protect is really cool. The idea behind this was, should he ever have Mega Guard out, right? I could always click for Future Sight on the guard swap out. And if I were to get in Keldeo versus like Hydreigon, right? Like, so the scenario I was envisioning was, he has out Mega Guard, he clicks Hyper Voice into my Bronzong, he swaps out not wanting to take the Steel move, I click Future Sight, and as he goes Hydreigon, right? Hydreigon versus Bronzong, you're almost forced to click Dark Pulse, just because, I mean, Draco would bounce, right? So in that line of thinking, I would go Keldeo, take the Dark Pulse, and now there's a Future Sight up, and should he have Roselia, he can't go out to it because I can literally just click Choice Spec Secret Sword, and Choice Spec Secret Sword plus Future Sight would always be pretty much a KO on Roselia. So that was the idea behind that. Plus I wanted Protect too, not only to get lefties back, but also to scout what a choice locked Hydreigon would click. Because if he ever wanted to lock into Draco versus Zong, I could easily just stay in and click Gyro Ball. So Protect just helped me scout what he wanted to lock into when it comes to Hydreigon. So yeah, I'm gonna get into this match. So he ended up bringing the top 6 like I thought, left Roselia, so that immediately kind of told me that he's probably gonna be like AV Torn or like Spadef guard. So leads off with Hydreigon, kind of like what I expected. I click U-turn right here. It's my best play easily. This gives me a free Keldeo switch in, so I just want to see. I know he's gonna be AV Torn, but I really just wanted to see and confirm what his exact item would be and what his response to Keldeo would be on this team with no Rose. So yeah, he goes out to Torn on my Scald. No Scald Burn and Fort, but it definitely reveals to be AV. I just use this opportunity to go to Donphan. He knocks off my Assault Vest, which is pretty unfortunate, but I mean, Donphan is my primary switch into this. So yeah, I just go for the knockoff, get rid of one of his items, as I knock off the Yachi Berry from Donphan. I'm guessing this was for like Kieran Black or some shit. I go right out to Kieran Black on potential rocks, as this is like really primary rocker here. I predict to swap out to Doublade and just go right for Earth Power, and he reveals to be like max Spadef Doublade. Doesn't get too killed by Earth Power, as he clicks Gyro Ball into me, and like this is honestly a fine enough scenario, right? Because if he's max Spadaf Doublade, that's one answer gone for Mew, right? So my Mew is just getting freed up more, and Kieran Black wasn't really needed for anything, right? Like, I was hoping to maybe get a trade versus one of his offense, but getting rid of a Mew check is like just as important. So I also get just the momentum here, right? So I sack off Kieran Black to Hydreigon. I get a free Keldeo switch in, and he goes out to Torn. I click Icy Wind here just because it's my best like neutral click. And so this is nice, right? He's almost forced to kind of click like Hurricane here, just because if I stayed in with Keldeo, now I outspeed with Icy Wind chip, like he could be in a really bad spot. So he actually doubles out into Infernape, and this is fine for me, right? Like I'm heat proof, so I'm gonna eat whatever this shit goes for. So I click Protect the Scout, and then he clicks Overheat again, and as you can see, this joint bounces, and I just use the opportunity to get up my rocks. Use Protect to get more lefties recovery. He's clicking U-turn to get out of there, and I think I just click Future Sight at this moment, right? I click Future Sight. He goes up to Donphan, and with Protect it's really nice, right? Like I can reduce how many turns I have until Future Sight goes off. So he ends up clicking Spin to try and get in my rocks, but I mean I can just stay in and click rocks again because he's going to take this Future Sight chip, which is like really good for me. And yeah, like this is a winning battle for me, right? Because I can just click Future Sight, I'm getting lefties recovery back, and then I can also just get off my rocks. And here he reveals to be Endeavor, and I'm like, I don't care. Like my team offensively can pressure guard. Like I don't really need this Bronzong around. So I get up my rocks back up, goes to Hydreigon, clicks Dark Pulse, Protect there to Scout, and then I just go out to Keldeo because honestly most Oras Hydreigons are choice locked in some fashion. So this is really fine for me. I click Icy Wind again, my best mid ground play. Cast the AV Torn, and now he's forced out just because he'd be revenged with the speed drop. I get good chip on Mega Guard, well, regular guard as he comes in, and I have almost near a full health Bronzong, so this is like very free on my end. He clicks Sub, clicks Willow. I'm like, I don't care. Like Gyro's still gonna 2-hit KO the sub or KO the sub. And yeah, like I can easily click Future Sight here. Like he can't really do anything. And yeah, with the Future Sight Protect combo, I'm able to maintain my rocks up, which is really nice because I can just click rocks here again. He's gonna die from Future Sight. He gets off the Endeavor, but Mega Guard is like almost dead, so it doesn't really make a difference. He goes up to Torn. I'm assuming just to try and get some health back with his regen. Clicks Knockoff. I'm just gonna sack off Bronzong here. It's not really needed for anything else. I go out to Donphan just because I don't really want to reveal I'm Choice Scarf Thunderous. Plus Choice Scarf Thunderous didn't really have a good click here. Get rid of the rocks. Here's where being no EQ kind of hurt, just because I wasn't able to pick up the kill on Infernape here, and I'm like now down in the sat game. I've gotten rid of rocks, which is really good for Thunderous, but yeah, now we're even when it comes to Pokemon. So here I click U-turn on a Hydreigon after the double down. I sack off my Keldeo to Draco, and here like I'm really just aiming for a wild charge / fly sweep with Thunderous, right? Like Thunderous like pretty much killed any one of these other mons that he could have gone to. So Thunderous here being able to get off this U-turn chip on Hydreigon just makes it so that something like Choice Scarf Fly is just way better in this endgame. So I go back out in the Thunderous. I think here I misplayed. I honestly should have clicked Wild Charge here because had he stayed in to sack off Hydreigon, Draco wouldn't have 2-hit KO'd me. And I would have always caught the switch in from Torn. So now it's a little bit more of an awkward position because I have to go Mew. And I click Rock Polish, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. Rock Polish up on the Torn swap out to Guard. I kill Guard with Shadow Ball, and here I'm like, okay, well, what are the only ways I lose this game? Only way I lose this game is if I miss the Blizzard that I'm running. The Blizzard that I put on here. Because if I miss Blizzard and he kills me with Dark Pulse, I'm in a position where I'm essentially forced to probably click what is it, Wild Charge, and it just becomes awkward, right? Because he could easily sack off Torn, predicting me to click like Fighting Move or some shit, and then like come back out into Hydreigon and click Draco as I don't kill with Wild Charge. So yeah, it was like really really tough. So I just clicked Shadow Ball because it pretty much guaranteed me the win. Because Shadow Ball, with Shadow Ball chip, he always was put into range of Wild Charge. So I just don't even risk the Blizzard, right? Like, it's just not worth it. So yeah, Shadow Ball chip put him in the range of Wild Charge. Choice Scarf Wild Charge kills the Hydreigon, and then Choice Scarf Wild Charge is going to kill the AV Torn. So yeah, good game there. Honestly, really close one. I was just really happy to make it past these offensive threats here of Torn, Infernape, Hydreigon, because they were like incredibly scary in the builder. So yeah, next up, so now we're in top 8, right? Top 8. Our opponents have been pretty strong thus far, but I knew looking at who was making it through the tournament so far that me and L5 were going to be coming to blows like pretty soon, bro. Like, at this point, not to discredit any of the other competitors in Oras Cup, but Oras is such an old gen where like there are only so many like really top echelon like viable players, and a lot of the ones I was seeing had been eliminated already. So really at this point it was me and L5 who were, I would say, the most experienced at Oras, and I just knew that if I was going to win this tournament, it would have to be through L5, right? So yeah, top 8, we have been matched up versus L5. I knew this was going to be a hard one, but at the same time, I'd basically been preparing and scouting for this matchup like well in advance, even before we had got matched up, because I just knew it was going to happen. So this was actually the first week too where I didn't build alone. I actually got the help of my longtime buddy Sean. Usually I always turn to him for building help, just because he understands the mindset, you know. So yeah, L5's team, he has Mega Gallade, Greninja, and then like this double steel core of Skarm and Bronzong, Roserade, Sylveon, and then Zygarde and Vullaby. So first thing I noticed was Sylveon is very much a threat, and just because my team struggles with bulky fairy types, because my steel and poison are Bronzong and Vileplume, and I realized like offensively Sylveon is very threatening, right? Like Choice Specs, Choice Scarf, all very much real possibilities here. Just getting in versus my Fat and clicking Specs Hyper Voice is very much a factor, or Choice Scarf Sylveon as well, outspeeding all of my offense and clicking Hyper Voice, very threatening. What is it? Roserade for Keldeo was pretty unfortunate. The combo of Roserade plus Sylveon just makes it difficult to try and like use Keldeo here. But of course Keldeo needs to come as well, because it's my best check to Grin. And yeah, like other than that, like the matchup didn't look that bad for me. Thundurus offensively is just really strong here. And like Kieran Black, while it needs a lot of coverage moves, you also only can really revenge it with something like Choice Scarf Sylveon or Gallade, right? So it's really not the worst for me. So we're just gonna look at the team that I ended up bringing. So starting off, we have Choice Scarf Kieran Black. So I really wanted a way of revenging Mega Gallade, because like Thundurus can't really run a move strong enough to kill Gallade other than like Foul Play or like, I don't know, Power Up Fly. So I really wanted a Mon that could revenge Gallade after its setup. So I landed on Choice Scarf Kieran Black. This one also gives me a revenger to Greninja. And I kind of was predicting him to leave Bronzong on the bench instead for Zygarde. So that kind of eased up what my coverage would be, but like Dragon Claw, Fusion Bolt, Shadow Claw, Iron Head kind of just hits everything on the team very hard. You know, like in most cases, Shadow Claw would be my best click just because his dark type is Greninja. So Shadow Claw is like really not that bad of a neutral click here. As well as the fact that Fusion will also be a good click too, because his ground type is a Zygarde, which never wants to come in on Kieran Black. So Choice Scarf Kieran Black, Adamant max speed to speed tie with Adamant Zygarde. I was like, if he's max speed Zygarde, so be it, but I really needed Adamant for calc. So yeah. Next up we have, I'm pretty sure this is my lead in this matchup, Weakness Policy, 3 attacks Mew. So our coverage is Dazzling Gleam, Fire Blast, Sludge Bomb. So this is really interesting because of course I watched the replays of my opponents you know, before facing them, and I remember seeing L5's game versus Bobbert, and it was funny, I was in DMs with Bobbert and I was like, yo, like I could literally bring a Mew that's exactly like the Togekiss you used in your match. And it honestly is, like, besides from the Sludge Bomb coverage, this shit is literally Togekiss. So yeah, this Mew just looked really effective off lead, just because Gren can't KO it. It gets a lot of pressure off on his defensive core to soften them up for a Kieran Black sweep. So yeah, it just looked really, really deadly. I think I was debating like running like a Calm Mind, like Dazzle, Fire Blast set or something. But it just looked too slow into Sylveon, and as well as like more prone to hacks should Greninja try and Dark Pulse flinch me. So yeah, this mon just looked very, very strong off lead. Next we're bringing Choice Specs, Keldeo again, 3 times in a row, but this time we are running no speed on Keldeo. The reason being is I wanted to have an emergency check to Zygarde. So I should Donphan fall, I wanted to have a check to Zygarde, and max HP Keldeo is going to do it, right? Like Choice Specs, Icy Wind is always going to check the Zygarde from setting up DDs, as well as max HP allowing me to not get 2-hit killed by extra sensory from Gren. And I figured I didn't need the speed because his only relevant mons that I would be underspeeding would be Rose and Zygarde, and like Zygarde I'm checking right with my bulk, and then Rose I just didn't think would have the luxury of running max speed here. Number one, it just doesn't make any sense, but also like he really needs the bulk to be able to live Choice Specs Keldeo hit. So yeah, no speed on this Keldeo. I thought this worked out very nice. Next we have max defense Donphan with Rocky Helmet, Earthquake, Ice Shard, Roar, Rapid Spin. So this is my check to Mega Gallade since my Mew is offensive. Yeah, my check to Mega Gallade and also my check to Zygarde. Earthquake plus Roar and Rocky Helmet should always kind of check the Gallade well enough. And then Rapid Spin to help remove hazards. It's pretty self-explanatory. Next we have Chardy Berry Thundurus. So this Thundurus is meant to help with Zygarde, because I figured if I get up a plot here versus like Skarm or Zong or something, his first response to Thundurus should probably be his Zygarde, and I figured like Zygarde clicking Outrage here is like not really realistic. So the main way how he would try and like get around my Thundurus would be Yachi Berry Zygarde with like Stone Edge and then clicking Extreme Speed. So Chardy Berry is there to help me live that combination, and then plot HP Ice is always going to do a ton to Zygarde, no matter if he's Yachi Berry or not. And then Last Ditch T-Wave to help me para something like Gren, right? Para something like Gren. It also helps versus Gallade too. Choice Scarf Sylveon, all of which ends up making my Choice Scarf Kieran Black way better. And then lastly we have this Bronzong, this interesting Bronzong. I also got this from Bobbert, my good man's Bobbert. He gave me the set. I literally took it word for word, bar for bar. So it's heavy metal, heavy slam, side wave, heel block, stealth rocks, lefties. So yeah, I saw Bobbert use this versus L5, and it was so effective. Heel block is so that when Sylveon clicks Wish, you can heel block and stop the Wish from being given to any one of the mons that come out afterwards. So in that way, it's really nice because if I use Bronzong to switch into Sylveon, he can't Wish and heal up his Gallade or Zygarde, which is very, very nice for me. And then max damage Heavy Slam with Heavy Metal, like just gives me the damage needed when it comes to Gallade, Roserade, Sylveon, etc. And then Psywave is like pretty much my best neutral click after that, right? So yeah, just a really cool set. Shout out to Bobbert for the innovation, you know. Yeah, you can't win tournaments without collaboration, as I say. So yeah, so that's going to be the team for L5. Let's get into the match. So yeah, he brought the top 6 as I expected. I figured Skarm would be left because Skarm isn't really checking anything on my team. So yeah, I lead off with this Mew. He leads off with Rose. This is a good lead for me. He should be faring like psychic coverage here, honestly. But he decides to stay in, which I was pretty surprised about because I'm like, this is your Kel check, so I just did not expect him to stay in. I thought he would go Zong. But anyways, he stays in. He clicks Sleep Powder and misses. So really good first turn for me, right? Like Fire Blast has 2-hit KO'd this Rose, and he has missed Sleep Powder, so just really good start for me. He ends up swapping out and goes Bronzong as I click another Fire Blast. Thankfully I land, and I also get a pretty good crit here. So just hacks thus far, but at the same time, right, like should he have slept my Mew, there was always a potential I could have just woken up next turn. And based off this crit damage, I'm pretty sure Fire Blast 2-hit KO'd Zong, regardless. Maybe not with lefties. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at the calcs. But yeah, pretty unfortunate start for L5. Good start for me. I just click Fire Blast again. Thank goodness I'm landing all of these. I get good chip on Grem. Clicks Dark Pulse into my Keldeo. Reveals to be Life Orb, which is good for me. This is just softening up his Gren for my Kyurem Black. Like Dragon Claw or like Shadow Claw Sweep. I click Secret Sword. And yeah, this is just going to 2-hit KO the Rose. Like it does 51. Like that's insane, bro. Look at Choice Specs, Modest Keldeo. Just straight up just obliterating Rose. But yeah, he goes out to Gallade to Revenge. I go out to Donphan. Here I'm just gonna click Earthquake. Thankfully I don't get flinched by Zen. I click Shard, get off my last little bit of chip. He takes Rocky Helmet. This Gallade is basically near dead. And yeah, like I go out to Thundurus. It doesn't really matter if I take Shadow Seeker or anything like that. Click HP Ice to try and cast a Zygarde. He goes to Sylveon, clicks Hyper Voice. And here I think, what do I click? I think I could just click Rocks, right? Yeah, I click up Rocks. He goes out to his own Zong. And this is just another free switch in for Keldeo, right? I know he's gonna click Rocks, so I just get in my Keldeo. I can get another kill. Here I think I click Secret Sword because if he goes up to Sylveon, I can just go out to Zong. Goes out to Gallade to Revenge. I'm just gonna sack off my Bronzong because it's like my only real lose con here, right? Like the only way I lose this game at this point is his Zygarde setting up on my Bronzong. Just because I don't have HPIs, I don't have Toxic, so I like getting rid of the Zong is like not bad for me, right? But I actually end up swapping out to Mew because I didn't want to be in a position where he clicked CC versus my Zong. I kill his Gallade and then he goes out to Zygarde and click DD, right? So I ended up swapping because I figured going out to Mew would at least stop Zygarde from getting multiple DDs in a row, and Thundurus can always live +1 DD, +1 Stone Edge with the Charty Berry even after Rocks. So yeah, I go out to Mew. He clicks Knockoff, good play on his part. And here he actually decides to swap out. I'm assuming he thought that I was Vacuum Wave with this Mew. which makes sense, right? Like vacuum wave, like hits Gren like pretty hard. But no, I was not vacuum wave. I had 3 attacks and vacuum was not one of them. So yeah, he ends up swapping out, which is really good for me. I clicked Sludge Bomb here because I'm like, if for some reason he swaps, he's going out to Sylveon. So yeah, this shit worked out like amazing for me, right? Like I clicked Sludge Bomb here, got the kill on Sylveon, and like yeah, I'm sitting in a really good spot. He clicks Crunch with Zygarde. Doesn't really give me much information because I didn't have speed on my Mew. But yeah, this gives me another Keldeo switch in. He sacks off Gallade to Rocks. Here, like, I mean, at this point, I really can't lose. Like, Keldeo doesn't even die to Life Orb Gren. And then Icy Wind putting him in the position where I outspeed next turn. Yeah, I just kill Gren, and then I just get to click Icy Wind again. Stop the Zygarde from ever sweeping me. And yeah, with Zong alive, I can just go Zong, spam Psywave, and yeah, I mean, he's locked into Outrage, so he's not gonna ever really win this. Maybe if my Zong was lower, he had the potential, because I think like maybe like max attack Adamant was a roll on Thundurus after Rocks, but I mean at the same time it still would have been down to a speed tie with Current Black, so I think I pretty much was always in a good spot. So unfortunate start for L5 for sure. The Sleep Powder miss and then Fire Blast crit were definitely big because it gave me a lot of momentum, and I chipped down his defensive pieces really early. But I also do think I had some strong prep here that helped me win the game as well. But yeah, so that's the game versus L5. We are now in semifinals at this point, and our next opponent is Boas. You know, the guy who just recently faced Gypsy King in DPL. Rip to him. But anyways, looking at the matchup, Boas has Mega Guard, Infernape, Superior, Crobat, Empoleon, Reuniclus, Rhyperior, and another Bullaby. So this is kind of similar to the team I faced with Wood of Darkness with the Mega Guard and Infernape combo. Very scary for my team, just because, like I said, I only have Fire Resist Keldeo, so very scary, but not unbeatable. So the best things I realized in this matchup were Thundurus looks amazing, right? His ground type is a Rhyperior. Like Thundurus looks amazing. As well as the fact of what is it? Offensively, Current Black smokes, right? Like Mega Guard and Empoleon are not real checks to Current Black, and otherwise Current Black like just annihilates his team offensively. I knew one issue I may have is Reuniclus, because my Dark type is a Mega Absol, right? Like Mega Absol is just not really viable here. It doesn't kill anything. It doesn't even really threaten Reuniclus, like if he's Focus Blast, like Cobra or something. So like it just wasn't really bringable. And I knew I just needed to have some way of not losing to like something like Iron Defense or like Calm Mind Reuniclus in the back. So yeah, those were my main takeaways. So let's just look at the team that I brought for him. So starting off, we have this Mew, Stallbreaker Mew. This is really my check to late game Reuniclus, just because the combo of Psychic, Super Fang, Taunt will always allow me to get his Reuniclus in range of Choice Scarf, Current Black, Revenge. So that was the idea behind that. This Mew also just helps with Infernape and Crobat as well. Offensive Bat was something I definitely expected to come. With like either like what is it, Sharp Beak or just max attack, and so this Mew allowed me to not get just obliterated by that. And then like Psychic also really helps with Infernape, which these EVs were meant to like not get like 2-hit killed by like Choice Scarf, Infernape with Rocks, and like it also helped versus like mixed offensive Ape as well. So this Mew has a lot of applicability to his team. But it's really meant to be my check towards Reuniclus. So, Stallbreaker Mew, we have Choice Scarf, mix Kieran Black. This mon just looked very, very potent. Shadow Claw is an amazing click versus his team. Like, my guy has no ghost resist, and all of the like sort of checks to Shadow Claw don't really want to switch into Kieran Black. As well as the fact I wanted a mon that could revenge Superior. And Kieran Black is going to be that, right? Like, Ice Beam does a ton. Ice Beam is a really good click versus his team in general, like especially if Empoleon is gone. This mon also outspeeds Rock Polish, Rhyperior too, which was big. So yeah, just Kieran Black looks very, very strong. Fusion Bolt is another good click as well. Rhyperior is never really gonna want to switch into Kieran Black. So if I catch the Empoleon with one Fusion Bolt, like his check to Shadow Claw after that is just like non-existent. So Scarf Kieran Black looks really good. We're bringing Choice Specs Keldeo again, again for the like 4th time in a row. Here, Choice Specs Keldeo is literally like just meant to put pressure on Empoleon, but also pressure on Reuniclus as well. I figured either Reuniclus is going to be like AV, or it's going to be like some sort of like bulky defensive set. So I figured it with the potential of it being AV and potential of him using like bulky SERP or Spadef guard to check Keldeo, like Specs just made the most sense. So yeah, Specs Keldeo is coming. Next we have Assault Vest, Defiant Thunderous. So this Thunderous is meant to help me check Superior. I didn't want to bring Vileplume here. And the good thing about Thunderous is that it does not worry about glare from Superior. And yeah, Assault Vest Thunderous, I always like take the combo of like Leaf Storm plus rocks plus like HP rock or whatever, and I can threaten with Sludge Wave or U-turn. Defiant is kind of nice because if he ever wants to click Defog with Empoleon, I get the attack boost, and then he's like in a situation where he doesn't know if I'm fully physical Thunderous or not, and plus I get off like a +2 U-turn versus something like Rhyperior or like AV Reuniclus if he wants to swap that in. So just really cool tech there. And yeah, like T-Bolt, Sludge Wave, Grass Knot hits like everything on his team. I debated putting Knockoff on this, but I figured I would just U-turn with Thunderous instead and go out into my Mew or Kieran Black versus AV Reuniclus. So plus I couldn't fit Knockoff. Next we have this Spadef Zong with Citrus Berry. This is meant to help me with not getting too killed from the combo of Shadow Ball plus Will-O-Wisp guard. Sidewave Toxic hits like everything very nicely, and Heal Block is being ran again. Heal Block was so with the speed that I have in this Zong, 20 speed, I like creep Reuniclus, like no speed Reuniclus, and I can stop Reuniclus from clicking Recover should he be a bulky setup set. So I thought Heal Block was pretty nice there, and it also helps with Wish Protect Will-O-Wisp guard. So Heal Block, a lot of applicability. This is my rocker here, my guard check, pretty self-explanatory. And then lastly we have this Assault Vest like mixed defensive Donphan. This is supposed to be my primary check to Infernape. My investment plus AV helps me not get too killed by mixed offensive ape, special ape as well. And then also Earthquake, Endeavor, Ice Shard, Spin. I was debating Endeavor and Knockoff, but I ended up deciding on Endeavor because I wouldn't have as many like insurances for setup Reuniclus, and I figured if my Donphan takes a hit from Infernape and then I save it, should he reveal to be set up Reuniclus later on down the line, I could use Endeavor Donphan to potentially get it in range of Choice Scarf, Kieran Black, Shadow Claw. So that was the idea behind that, and you all will see that ends up playing a factor. So let's look at this game. He ends up leaving Rhyperior on the bench, which I thought was pretty shocking. But I thought that kind of meant that he would be some sort of like Wakan, Empoleon, or like AV Reuniclus. So I lead off with Thundurus here. Leads off with Guard. I debated clicking Sludge Wave with Thundurus because I'm AV and like max special attack Guard Hyper Voice did like 50% to Thundurus, so I like chewed that easily, but I just didn't think it was worth it because I had a whole Zong in the back, and like Thundurus looks really good here with no Rhyperior. So I click U-turn, get off some good chip, go out to Zong. He clicks Hyper Voice, which is completely fine with me. I just go for my rocks as he goes out into Empoleon. And he reveals to be Defog, which is fine. This just gives me a free Keldeo hit. And I clicked Secret Sword, just my safest click here. And yeah, he ends up being a Eject button, Reuniclus. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, he gets in his Crobat, and here he reveals to be Choice Banded Crobat, which is like really scary. Very, very scary for me. It was definitely a possibility in the builder, but I just didn't think it would come. So he ends up being able to 2-KO my Mew, so I just go out to Zong, take 34%, a lot. But Citrus Berry allows me to get back healthy. I get up my rocks again, and here I'm just gonna try and like 1v1 this Empoleon because ultimately, like, it's good for me, right? Like Cure and Black looks phenomenal in this game with Shadow Claw, and especially because he's Choice Banded Bat, right? Like, so he has virtually no recovery. So Choice Scarf, Shadow Claw is my like end game here. So it's best to just 1v1 this Empoleon, get it as low as possible. He gets a Scald Burn versus me, which is honestly really, really good. Like, I honestly couldn't have asked for better because with me being burnt allowed me to be able to spam rocks here, right? Because I underspeed, I can spam rocks, and at the end of the day, I can let my Zong go and maintain rocks versus this Empoleon. So he ends up swapping out. He goes up the Guard on my rocks. Fine for me. I sack off my Zong to make a Guard. And here I just go Cure and Black, and I threaten with a Shadow Claw, and like, this is a guaranteed kill, right? Shadow Claw is a guaranteed kill. He reveals to be Regen Reuniclus. Shadow Claw 2 kills the Reuniclus, so he goes up to Infernape. And here, like, my Cure and Black always lived Choice Scarf CC, but it just didn't seem worth it because if he's Choice Scarf CC, like, I live, but I'd be at like, I don't know, like 20%, maybe like 10% on Cure and Black. And if he ever were to get up rocks with his like Empoleon or some shit, like, I just lose my main win con. Plus Cure and Black's health allows me to take Reuniclus hits, Serp hits, Crobat hits if needed, so it just didn't seem worth. So I go to Mew, thinking he's Choice Scarf, but he actually reveals to be Banded. So he 2-KOs by Mew. I'm like, all right, perfectly fine. This is just going to give me a free Thundurus switch in, and he has no Thundurus, like, you know, counterplay. So I just kill with Thunderbolt. Goes up to Reuniclus. I click T-Bolt. He clicks Recover. I click T-Bolt again. Here I honestly kind of misplayed on this T-Bolt turn. This T-Bolt turn was fine, but I should have gone out to I should have went hard Cure and Black at this point. Actually, no. The misplay was I should have clicked U-turn. I should have clicked U-turn on this turn and gone right out into Cure and Black. That was my misplay. I shouldn't have tried to T-Bolt this Reuniclus, like, at all. I should have just clicked U-turn, gone out to Cure and Black, and then clicked Shadow Claw 100%. So I end up clicking U-turn, but it's a little bit too late. I go out to Donphan. He starts clicking Calm Mind, and I was like, oh shit, like, I've lost my Mew, which like was my response to this, and my heal block Zong, so just really, really bad. So I spam Earthquake. I don't really do too much, and I knew like this is kind of like a losing battle, so I wanted to get in Keldeo here to get off Chip before it was too late. So I end up clicking Choice Spec Scald here. I get the burn, which is super clutch. Thank goodness. Because as you can see, it puts him in range of Choice Scarf Shadow Claw. I think I still would have been fine, The only way it would have been really bad was if he was carrying Focus Blast. Like if he was Focus Blast, it would have been bad. Yeah, it definitely would have been worse, for sure. So yeah, I clicked Shadow Claw. I killed the Empoleon. Crit didn't matter unless he was like Custap. But yeah, he goes at the bat to try and revenge kill. I could have stayed in, but Shadow Claw didn't kill. So I just sack off my Donphan. Yeah, I get the shard kill with Crobat. Very, very nice. And then he goes at the guard, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna sack, because at this point, Kyurem Black, Shadow Claw / Ice Beam is just gonna win this game. So I'm just gonna sack. I click Ice Shard. He clicks Healing Wish, and I'm like, oh shit, like, damn. But I'm saved because I decided to run Endeavor on Donphan. Like, clutch moment right here. Endeavor is going to allow me to keep this Reuniclus low and not allow him to set up on me again. So he ends up forfeiting. But yeah, with Endeavor plus Kyurem Black, I always won this game. So very, very nice. At that point, we have just won in semifinals. So now we're moving on to finals. And yeah. So my game for finals is versus Takua, another DPL newbie, but I had watched all his games in Oras Cup thus far, and honestly he'd been doing very, very well. Now, can we examine his team for a second? This guy's team is insanely broken. How in the world he got this top 6 is beyond me. Like, Garchomp, Keldeo, Weavile, Zapdos, Metagross, and then throw on top Roselia. Like, how in the world did his pool allow him to get this? I just don't understand. Like, this shit is broken. Like, no wonder he's in finals. This top 6 is insane. So, like, yeah, just a very volatile matchup. Automatically, Weavile, Keldeo, insane threats versus me. Especially because Vileplume looks like the worst mon ever in this matchup. The worst mon ever. Like, Weavile, Zapdos, Roselia, Metagross all just beat Vileplume. Looks like the worst mon. Weavile is scary because, like, my only check is Keldeo, and Keldeo is pretty much walled by Roselia if I'm, like, defensive. So very scary. And then another thing I noticed too was that all of Takua's mons were very bringable here. So this one I was prepping with Sean, and like, we settled, like, I did like one mock for this game just because it was finals, and we settled on the fact that, like, either he's bringing Garchomp, Keld, Weavile, Metagross, and then bringing Audino, Trevenant, or he's bringing these top 6. Like, either Zapdos and Roselia are being left for Audino and Trevenant, or he's bringing the top 6, like predicted. So, which, by the way, the one mock I did with Sean, I did win, but just barely. And it definitely inspired me to make some last minute changes, which definitely helped. So yeah, we're gonna go into this team that I brought for finals. So starting off, we have this Mew set. So this Mew is my win con. I knew if I was to win this game, it would be through Mew. And Mew was very interesting here because coverage wise, like, Psychic Fire coverage is the most, like, ideal thing that I could run, just because it hits Weavile hard, it hits Metagross hard, and then Psychic for everything else. The issue was, I knew that one of the ways that he can get around something like bulky setup Mew is just by spamming Toxic versus my team, with either, like, Toxic Zapdos or Toxic / like Sleep Powder / T-Spikes Roselia, and then, like, Toxic Metagross, like, all ways that he can get around something like the basic, like, Colbur CM Mew set. So I didn't want to run that, and I also identified that Metagross almost had to be used for Kieran Black here if he didn't have Aldino. So I and also Metagross, it was his best response to Bronzong too. So with that in mind, I knew that there would be many opportunities for me to weaken Metagross here for the Mew. So I didn't want to run fire coverage, and I really want to vacuum wave because my only way to revenge kill Weavile at the moment is something like Choice Scarf Keldeo, and Choice Scarf Keldeo is like not really good versus anything else but Weavile and Garchomp. So I didn't want it to be the only way I could revenge Weavile. So we're running Psyshock, Vacuum Wave, Calm Mind, Softballed with Lumberry. So the idea behind this set is that at like +1, Vacuum Wave does 10 million to Weavile. Like I'm pretty sure it like basically it KOs after rocks at +1, which is nice. And then Calm Mind plus Lumberry allows me to 1v1 the Zapdos because he would click Toxic, get Toxic to himself because of Synchronized. I get rid of it, and then like with rocks plus like Side Shock, like I may get Toxic again, but at that point it may be too late, right? And then also the good thing about this moveset was I knew based off of other games I've seen that he favored Audino a lot, and a very scary threat versus me with Audino was Calm Mind Audino, just because it's hard for my team to break. So with that in mind, like this Calm Mind Psyshock Mew would be able to 1v1 Audino. Like if he was Calm Mind Draining Kiss Audino, like this Mew can easily 1v1. So yeah, that was the idea behind this Mew. My win con in this game. Next we have Kieran Black with E-Belt. Running near max defense on this Kieran Black. This is supposed to be my Weavile switch-in. And then also the Mon that would be used to beat down Metagross, like, to all ends of the earth. Like, I would literally sacrifice this Kieran Black just to exchange with Metagross. That's how important it is to open up my Mew. So, Ice Beam, Draco, Earth Power. Draco gives me a near one-shot on Weavile, as well as Keldeo. I'm able to take a max special attack, Specs, Keldeo Secret Sword with this defense investment. And then yeah, like the rest of this is really just special attack to hit Metagross as hard as possible. I was debating putting Toxic on this set over Draco just for Audino, but I really wanted to make sure I had a move that could hit Weavile hard if I'm planning on using this as my switch-in, right? So yeah, and then Assault Vest Thunderous is back. Here, this is my sort of soft check to Keldeo. Like I said, I really didn't want to bring Vileplume here because it just looked so inviable. So I knew if Keldeo came, it'd get maybe like 1 or 2 switch-ins here, outside of me just sacking him onto it. So Assault Vest Thunderous is here to help with Keldeo. I can live like one Hydro Pump, one Choice Specs Hydro Pump after rocks. Yeah, this set basically just meant to keep up momentum here. Knockoff is one of my moves because I realize it's like my best mid-ground click when it comes to Keldeo, because either I can knock off his specs on Keldeo, which really makes my Mew way better, or I can click knockoff on Garchomp rather than clicking electric move into Keldeo. Because if he swaps on the Garchomp, I can click knockoff, get rid of his Yache Berry, and then the combo of knockoff plus HP Ice will always kill him with Garchomp. And then knockoff also getting rid of Roselia, EV Light, and Zapdos item is really big for me. Otherwise, Volt Switch to keep up momentum, standard stuff on Dundee. Next we have Mixed Defensive Zong. So this is my dedicated lead here. Looking at his team, he has a really tough time killing Bronzong off lead. Like his only mon that really threatens good damage on Zong is Weavile, and Weavile never wants to switch in on Zong, right? Because literally one Gyro Ball and it's all over. So yeah, this Zong was my lead. Really just meant to get up early rocks so I could get the chip I need on Weavile for a Mew Vacuum Wave and also pressure Zapdos. But this Zong is also meant to beat down his team and soften it up for my offense. And plus it's just unkillable. So really good set. Heavy Slam, Side Wave, Toxic Stealth Rocks. Next we have Choice Scarf Keldeo, finally deviating from Choice Specs. Choice Scarf Keldeo here is literally only being brought for Choice Scarf Garchomp, because I realized I originally had specs on this build, but I realized once Bronzong went down from lead, and with my Donphan set being not really that bulky, like if both of those were to fall, Choice Scarf Garchomp with Outrage could just like sweep up my team like so easily. So I really wanted a way to respond to that. So Choice Scarf Keldeo was the bring. Pretty much useless into Roselia, but I figured like Keldeo is not really going to be used in the early game or mid game at all, really. It's really only to just revenge Garchomp, and should he ever bring out Roselia, it would just give me a free switch to Kieran Black, which is kind of what I want. So yeah, Choice Scarf Keldeo to help with Chomp. And then lastly we have this Donphan, Assault Vest Donphan, offensive, like max attack adamant. So this was one of my ways to help with Audino, right? Because like I said, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss Audino was very scary, but also just regular Audino with Wish Passing into something like Metagross was also very annoying for my team. And with this max attack Donphan, Earthquake, Gunk Shot, Ice Shard, Spin, Gunk Shot, number one, 2-hit KOs, max HP Trevenant, which is so fire. Like with Rocks up, like Gunk Shot pretty much always 2-hit KOs, max HP Trevenant. So, and we're running a lot of speed so that we outspeed Trevenant and Roselia. Of course, EQ 2-hit KOs Roselia. And then Ice Shard is there for Zapdos and Garchomp. And then yeah, Gunk Shot. The good thing about Donphan being my switch into Audino was, should he ever be regular Audino and click Wish, and I go out to Donphan, like he can never go Metagross to get health back, right? Like whereas other mons on my team like Zong, like if I went Zong on Audino, he could easily just go Metagross and get health back, which would make it harder for my Mew. But this Donphan here will always stop him from going Metagross, which is key because of course I need it to be pretty much dead or near dead for my Mew. So yeah, this is my main response to my Audino. So yeah, let's get into this match. Finals match versus Takua, the last game we're covering. Yeah, let's see what he ends up doing. So he did bring the Trevenant Audino combo, which I actually thought was so likely, just because I had seen his games. This guy favors Audino and Trevenant. Like it was being brought like almost every game. I was just shocked that he left Keldeo, because Keldeo was such a good threat versus me, like so good versus me. I was shocked that he had left Keldeo for the likes of Audino, but I wasn't complaining. Just one less thing I had to deal with. So yeah, so we're gonna lead off with Zong here with his lead Metagross, and this is like ideal for me, right? Like yeah, he can get up rocks, but my goal is just to get off as much chip on this Metagross as possible. So he clicks rocks and I click Sidewave because I'm like, all right, well I want chip on this Metagross where I can get it. Unfortunately I get like the low roll Sidewave and only get 19%, which is unfortunate, but I click rocks here expecting a swap out. As he goes for Will-O-Wisp with Trevenant, I just click Sidewave again. Like I considered going out to Kieran Black. Like in my analysis of what I would do during this game in this scenario, I figured I would always go Kieran Black on the Will-O-Wisp just because I'm special and it doesn't really matter and Kieran Black is expendable. But him having Audino made it harder, because Audino can kind of always switch into my Kieran Black, and then I'm taking like rocks plus like 2 rounds of like Will-O-Wisp. Like Kieran Black is like basically at like half at that point, like it's almost useless. So I just didn't find it worth going Kieran Black here. So I just stay in with Zong, get my chip with Sidewave, because I'm like, at the very least, I'm weakening one of his Keldeo checks. And I'm like the defensive with Citrus Berry, so I knew I could live Shadow Claw afterwards. So he actually swaps out from Trevenant, which I was very shocked about. And he goes up to Audino. And here I'm like, all right, well, like this is fine for me. Like Audino is not really an answer to the Zong at all. So I just click Toxic as he clicks like Raw Dazzling Gleam. And yeah, I'm guessing he's just trying to use this Audino to beat down my Zong because he doesn't have a good switch in otherwise. Like either something is getting toxic or like is taking a side wave. So he ends up revealing to be Rest, which is a little annoying, but not really the worst. Like this Zong is really not meant to do much else here except for be my lead and just get off chip. He starts clicking Calm Mind, which again is like not really troublesome. Like my goal is just to like just keep getting off side waves, keep him low enough so that something like Donphan can come in afterwards. And like unless he megas, he's not going to do any damage to me with Dazzle. And if he megas, then now he's losing his regen, but also he's going to be more susceptible to Gunk Shot. So I go out to Donphan here on his Rest, save my Zong sack. I clicked Gunk Shot here because I anticipated him to maybe mega, not expecting Gunk Shot, but he just stays in regular form. Click Earthquake after that, and like Earthquake reveals to be like a 2-hit KO at this point, and he does no damage with Dazzle. So I figured he was going to swap. I kind of wanted to click Spin on this anticipated swap, but I knew if he was to go out to anything, it would be Trevenant. So I just clicked Earthquake again because the combo of Earthquake plus Shard always killed Trevenant. So I just killed Trevenant. He goes up to Zapdos, takes rocks. Yeah, and he clicks Heat Wave, and I just use this opportunity to get off my spin to free up my Kyurem Black and Thundy. I go to Kyurem Black on Zapdos. He clicks Roost, and he actually reveals to be a very interesting set, Light Screen with Weakness Policy. So it's funny because in my mock versus Sean actually brought Light Screen Zapdos, and it was really annoying. I did not anticipate Light Screen plus Weakness Policy. That was a really good set on his part. But unfortunately for him, I get the freeze turn 1 and he remains frozen, which is really important for my opponent. Like it definitely made this game different. Like I don't really know what the Zapdos's coverage was. Like obviously he had Heat Wave, and I'm assuming he had like Electric Move, and like +2 Heat Wave depending on his investment, like maybe would have 2-hit killed my Kyurem Black. I think at that point though, like it's just in my best interest to like spam Earth Power. And I think between Earth Power and then also my Mew, like I feel like it would have been fine enough. Like I could have always just gone out to Mew and spammed like Calm Mind, because yeah, I could have just always spammed Calm Mind. Essentially it depends on how fast his Zapdos was. If his Zapdos was fast, like offensively invested, like it might have been bad for me. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, lucky for me though. Anyways, he goes at the Weavile after sacking his Zapdos. I just sack off my Zong because like no reason to let my Kyurem Black take damage. I go out to Keldeo, click Choice Scarf Secret Sword, kill him, and then he goes at the Garchomp. And at this point, right, like this game is like pretty much over. Like this Zapdos was his one way of like really coming back, but like this Audino set was never gonna win here. Like anything else like really wasn't too threatening here, like at all. So click sub with Garchomp, like that's fine with me. I just break with HP Ice. He crits me, which is unfortunate, but as you can see, I end up critting his Audino here with HP Ice, which is actually funny because it puts him in range of T-Ball after. So crit for crit was pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference. Like Gunk Shot Donphan was always gonna help me versus Audino still. Here I like just sack off my Donphan. I didn't calc, but I thought I was gonna live. So I just sacked off my Donphan. He reveals to be like max attack, like meteor mash. So I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna go out to Kyurem Black and just get my kill with Earth Power. So get my kill with Earth Power, and then he goes up to Garchomp, clicks the last ditch SD, and I just kill with Ice Beam. So yeah, that is gonna be finals. Good game to Takua. Sorry for the freeze. That was definitely unfortunate. But yeah, I do think our prep definitely came in clutch. When it came to the Audino, like this Donphan put in hella work. Wish I got to show off my Mew set, but yeah, this Donphan was clutch, like so much. But yeah, that's pretty much it for our finals run. Like I said, like overall, my experience with Oras, like until this point, has really just been in team tours. It's funny because I like back during the day, like when Oras was still like a prominent gen in like things like DPL, like I did not really know how to play the tier at all. And it wasn't until watching others play and like my experience as a captain, like helping people build, where I really got the chance to learn the ins and outs of Oras, just like making mocks for people and like watching the prep. And I think that has definitely allowed me like today to kind of have a good amount of knowledge about the tier, and like be proficient at it enough, right? I definitely did not expect for me to ever do this well with this team that I had, just because I had some real shitters on here like Absol and Bioplume and shit. But that just goes to show you like the top offensive threats that I had on my team were just so good. Like Mew, the combo of Mew, Kieran Black, Keldeo, Thundurus, like in and of itself is like just so amazingly strong. Like it's really very tough for an opponent to deal with the combo of those four. And surprisingly, like Donphan plus Bronzong proved to be such a reliable core at checking top meta threats. Like they just helped with so many things. Like just the combo of those two just helped with so many mons. So yeah, I had a good experience at Oras Cup. Happy to finally win a tournament of my own, and also win a Smogon tournament as well, because my goal is to ideally make it to circuit playoffs at the end of the year with this win and doing well in other tournaments. So yeah, thank you all for watching this recap of my tournament win. I hope you all enjoyed. It's probably going to be a long video, but I just wanted to cover like most of my top games, just because I feel like Oras is not really a tier that gets a lot of coverage these days. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Maybe I'll be posting more content here and there. We'll see. Just depends on what's going on. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And yeah, take care.